Thanks so much, Phil. This is a very important interview, and I think if you're being affected by the Road Accident Fund, this is where you stop doing what you're doing and you listen. They have halted payments to claimants, service providers, stakeholders and caregivers due to its bank account being attached by the sheriff of the court. This is a result of a few legal firms whose actions have disrupted an established cash management plan, which now inconsiderately prioritises them over those who have patiently been awaiting payment. But to tell us more about what's going on, the CEO of the Road Accident Fund is here with us in studio, Dr. Eugene Watson. Thank you so much for being with us and welcome to Morning Live.
My pleasure, Leanne. Thank you.
All right. Just give us a little bit more insight. I mean, that was a very brief outline. Friday, the announcement, halting all payments. What's going on? Why?
Well, I think it's important that we always communicate to people who expect money from the RAF. For over 3 years, we have been short of money. We basically produce and finalize more claims than we have money to pay. 3 years ago, the Minister of Finance recognized it. He awarded us the extra 50 cents in the fuel levy. But what you see in practice is that we receive about 3 billion rand a month. We use virtually all of that to pay claims, and there is still a shortfall of 8.2 billion rand owed to 5,200 people who accept an established cash flow management plan, which allows their payments to be scheduled over time. We aren't reneging on payments which are due. We accept that all of these payments are due, but the reality is we don't determine our funding. And we are impressed that many stakeholders, exactly as you said, claimants, direct claimants, lawyers, caregivers, doctors, funeral parlors, RAF suppliers have understood that we only can pay what we have money to pay. And they've worked with us. What we've seen, however, in the last week is 9 firms representing 33 claims attached our bank accounts to extract their money, which totaled 11 million rand, despite the fact that we actually had 3 billion rand in the bank at the time. The sad part about that selfish act is that about 7,500 payments worth 500 million rand would have ordinarily been made in that period. So there are caregivers who didn't get their salary. This is their only source of income. There are attorneys who didn't get their fees paid. There are claimants, direct claimants and represented claimants who didn't get the compensation they've waited for. All because of 33 claims, ironically of which 26 had in fact been paid in 2016.
Yeah, but let's go back to the sum of money we're dealing with now, because every single time anybody fills up, a portion of that goes to the Road Accident Fund. So, and the money you mentioned, which is true, it's 3 billion rand a month is going into the Road Accident Fund. Where is this money? I mean, how is it possible that you find yourself in this situation? This must be mismanagement of funds over many, many years and months.
It's actually not the mismanagement of funds. So if you look back at it, if we take the timeline, 1981, the RAF is insolvent. About 2011, the RAF as an institution wasn't performing well. We were only spending about half of what we received. So we're paying about 1 billion rand a month, and we had 6 billion rand in the bank. The board, the Minister of Transport and Government urged the institution to transform itself. Those decisions were taken in 2012, and what you basically saw within a period of 3 years is claim payments trebled, backlog of outstanding claims reduced by more than half, productivity improved, our audit outcomes improved, our administrative expenses reduced to 6% of our total expenditure, which is very good, and more claimants were paid. So what you then see is those payments increase from 1 billion rand a month to 3 billion rand a month, and they continue increasing because we are productive to 4 billion rand a month. The problem is we only have 3 billion rand worth of cash, and that's where you see the shortfall. So the assertion that it's mismanagement is incorrect. We have 3 clean audits. We met 90% of our strategic plan. We see 35,000 community members in their communities, and we settled 188,000 claims last year, which is higher than it was 5 years ago. So we're suffering because of our success on many levels.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the attorneys coming in and defending themselves, obviously, but you know, many say that they're unscrupulous. I mean, there were weekend reports and talking to some of these lawyers out there and saying that the principal cause of financial difficulty, and this is to quote one of the attorneys, is the mismanagement of the RAF. There are thousands of claims that are never dealt with. Those claimants have no other choice but to approach attorneys who then act on the behalf of their clients.
I think that may be stretching the truth. We're pleased to say that 35% of new claims are people who come in directly. who have confidence in the RAF, and that's growing. With regard to open claims, I mentioned the backlog reduced by half. With regard to attorneys representing claimants, I think they are right to do so. I think they do a good job generally, but we also can't deny the fact that 1,500 claims in the hands of attorneys prescribe because they lie open for excessive amounts of time. So I think we can't just level accusations or assertions at the RAF because it suits the sentiment we want to hold. The truth is, what we're dealing with in this last week is that payments were not made because people who wanted those payments refused to wait, and they chose to take a course of action at the expense of everybody else.
Is this the end of the Road Accident Fund?
I think as a country we are at a point where we need to accept some facts. The RAF excludes many people by design due to negligence and compensation. It's insolvent for over 36 years. It's short of cash despite so much money being paid to it. It's expensive. It's administratively difficult to proceed, and it's unsustainable. So as a country, we need to accept that change is necessary, and it is an urgent necessity, which is why we have a new bill, which is served before the Minister of Transport. It goes to Cabinet soon, and we will soon see a dispensation which is fair, affordable, and benefits all who need assistance.
Yeah. Let's talk about this new bill, because that's something that I think a lot of people perhaps are not sure about, and there's this push to push through this RAF benefit scheme, or RABS, RABS, which uses a no-fault system. Even the person who caused the accident can claim and only pays out certain predefined and limited benefits. How is this going to work? I mean, talk to me more about this bill.
Okay, the bill is a political decision in the 90s. A commission of inquiry chaired by a sitting judge in 2002 presented the design of this dispensation. Cabinet decisions in the 2000s followed, and the bill is now about to go to Cabinet. If you look at the RAF, it excludes the poor. It excludes people who can't find fault or can't prove fault. It compensates people unfairly on the basis of fault and negligence, despite the fact that they both may suffer from the same injuries. The rich benefit more, and the poor are often excluded or given very little. With the road accident benefit scheme, the focus then becomes, you were in an accident, you are seriously injured, or somebody lost their life. How do we provide you with all the assistance you want? So who benefits under RABS? Anyone seriously injured, anyone who has a member of their family who's lost their lives. Healthcare providers receive considerably more money to provide rehabilitation services fully to everybody who needs them. Administrative costs are reduced. Compensation is given to families at a monetary level for lost income or earnings, but at an affordable level. You can't argue the RAF works if it is unaffordable.
Two more questions just as we wrap up very quickly. If you can answer them quite quickly. Those that are waiting, claimants right now in the system, what do they do? What is their next move? And if somebody is in an accident today, what then? Is that it? I mean, we cannot claim, we cannot even approach the Road Accident Fund anymore.
I work with a team of dedicated public servants. People injured in an accident can continue to access our services. All services are running. For people awaiting payments, the payment queues are loaded. As soon as we have control of our account restored to us, payments will resume along the cash management plan.
But in the meantime, we all still paying the fuel levy to the Road Accident Fund.
Well, you do have to, yes.
Of course we do. All right, well, let's just hope that this gets sorted out and our money is put to good use, because that's what it's all about. I don't know about always, Eugene. I don't know if we would be in this position if it is managed in a proper way. It's a lot of money. But I've given you the chance to reply, and I think viewers can make up their own mind going forward. Eugene Watson, the CEO of the Road Accident Fund, talking to us about the Road Accident Fund halting payments to claimants, service providers, stakeholders, and caregivers. Basically, the reason is that its bank accounts have been attached by the sheriff of the court. And remember, 3 billion rand a month goes into this Road Accident Fund. So we'll keep a close eye on this story. All right, we take it.